Our next session, Being the Best You, Finding the Champion Within. May I please call on stage session moderator, consulting editor of sports with India Today, Boria Majumdar. May I please invite Ms. Deepa Malik, Rio Paralympic athlete and silver medalist. Let's greet and put our hands together as we invite Deepa Malik. Come on, I think we can get our claps a little louder. Lovely, thank you.
You know, 125 million Indians, one Olympic individual gold medal in 92 years of competition, 2008, 7:45 a.m. in the morning, 10.7 in his last shot. Abhinav Bindra finally gave us our holy grail. But today, it's not about his gold medal only. Something, and I can promise you this, something that none of you know about Abhinav. I don't think even Deepa knows. For the longest time, we've kept it a secret. Abhinav did not want to talk about it. We've pushed him, something that I'm going to talk about in the next 10 minutes. My other panelist, she was told 3 things. You will not be a good mother. 2 of her daughters, one completing an MBA, one doing a PhD on disability sport at Loughborough University. You will never drive a car. She's now done how many rallies she's not kept track of. She was told you will never be an athlete. She decides to go and win India's first Paralympic silver medal in Rio. Put your hands together for Deepa Malik. Deepa, I'll start with you. 1999, we do not have much time. 1999, excuse me, before I actually start. Sir, can you stand up, please? Any one of you, please stand. Yes, stand. How did you come into this hall? You walked in, right? All of us did. Everybody, each one of us. Thank you, sir. Each one of us walked into the hall. Deepa Malik in 1999 was told 10 more steps, and these are the 10 last steps that you're walking in your life. Over to you, Deepa. What happened? Tell us.
Well, there was a choice given to me. I was diagnosed with repetitive tumors in my spinal cord, and they said, we can either make you live on a wheelchair if we operate the tumors now, otherwise the infection is going to travel to the brain and we're going to lose you. So the choice was between not walking yet being alive. I think I chose to be alive, and as I say, my body could be paralyzed, but I never allowed my soul to be paralyzed. And it was a tough time because 1999, my husband was at the war and I had 2 very tiny daughters. But when I walked into the R&R hospital, Delhi, and I looked around, the entire hospital was full of war-wounded soldiers, each one depicting and showing off their injury. More the damage to the body in the war, more level of patriotism was being exhibited, and they were proud of their injuries. And I told myself that none of them had a tumor. I still had a tumor, so I had no reason to crib about my paralysis. And that was the time when I was given, the doctor asked me, and I said, 2 things, doctor. 1, can I walk to the operation theater and not go on the stretcher? And when I took those 10 steps, I realized how often we take little things of our lives so much for granted. We don't stand up to celebrate the little things we are blessed with. And the second thing was, may I know if my husband is alive? And they took me to a small operator room where they had put up a radio set with a hotline kind of a thing which was keeping everybody connected to the war zone. They put the headphones, they gave me the hand mic, and it was a radio conversation. And when I said, dear Bikram, over. They say, I will never walk again, over. And from the war zone, I heard my husband say, don't worry about your legs, over. I will carry you in my arms all my life, over. Let's just be alive. And here I am.
We'll come back to you, Deepa. That's Deepa Malik for you. But now, Abhinav, we've celebrated your gold medal. We've celebrated your fourth position. I know you make fun of that. But most importantly, I know you do not want to talk about it. You've, after much effort, written about it in your forthcoming autobiography. But from 2014, during the Commonwealth Games, something came in, something happened to you, which complicated participation in sport, which complicated your life no end. Can you, for the first time, please tell my audience what happened and how you coped with it?
Well, I think it was in 2014 I was diagnosed by somewhat of a serious neurological medical condition, and which the after effects of which left my hand in complete tremor, so my hand just keeps shaking. So I pursued a sport which required my hands to be stable, but my system and my condition just, yeah, it was just kind of difficult.
Okay, so let's repeat that. Abhinav shoots, and you've got to be as steady as ever in your 10-meter air rifle competition to even compete at a national level, forget the Olympic Games. And his hand, and I've seen that, that's how I came to know of it, suddenly starts shaking. There are tremors constantly. We call it epilepsy in English. He doesn't want to use the word. To make the Olympic final and enter a shoot-off with epilepsy, nursing that condition, winning an Olympic medal close to that, winning a Commonwealth Games gold medal with that condition, ladies and gentlemen, that's Abhinav Bindra for you.
Well, I'd like to add one thing to it. You know, I ended up fourth at the Olympic Games in Rio, and I didn't end up fourth because of neurological condition. I didn't end up fourth because of a tremor in my hand, or I didn't end up fourth because my sight of my rifle broke. The fact is, I ended up fourth because I wasn't good enough for third, and that, you know, that's very important to know. I was in good shape going into Rio, and I think the onus lies on me. Everybody has challenges, but you try and overcome that, and that's what I tried to do. And I didn't come in fourth, as I said, because of a condition or a challenge that I was facing. I ended up fourth because I wasn't good enough.
I knew he'd say that, because when I last asked him that, will you talk to my audience about it, and he said, look, I don't want sympathy. I didn't come fourth in Rio because of this problem of mine, this neurological condition. I came fourth, the reason he said he did come fourth for. But before I go to Deepa, you know, to win a Commonwealth Games gold medal, I mean, and you shoot and suddenly your hand starts shaking like this. But let's get to Rio. This is 45 minutes before the final, and Kali was there with me in Rio. Your sighter breaks. You have a tremor in your hand. Your table breaks. God must be conspiring against you.
Yeah, I think my coach put it really well. Heinz Reinkemeier is a kind of a funny man, and he put it quite nicely. It was like being a porn star who had an equipment malfunction.
Coming to Deepa now. Deepa, 4.61. Tell my audience about what transpired before. The 4.49 in the second attempt. You qualified from India. August, you wanted to see your name in the papers, that the first ever female athlete, and instead you see you are being dragged to the courts because you've cheated.
Yes. So, 2012, I got my Arjuna Award. That was the day I missed going to London Paralympics because of lack of competition. I did not have 3 girls qualifying. When 3 people qualify, 1 quota allocation seat comes for the country. In London Paralympics, I was the only one who qualified. So no quota seat came. I missed London. But the same day, I was getting the President's Arjuna Award, and someone said I should be happy about it, because at 42, what more could have I asked for? And even if I had gone to London, I would have just participated. I'll take you 2 years forward, 2014, Asian Games. I pick up a medal. I create a new Asian record in javelin as my main event. I'm happy that this performance is going to make me qualify for Rio Paralympics. When the list comes out, javelin is not the event for my disability category, it is shot put. I have to re-strategize, retrain, and everybody said that at 46, a heavier equipment, shot put, competing against two girls who are much younger, 20 years younger, in a different discipline of discus as the equipment, Deepa was written off, but I worked hard. 2015 World Championship at Doha, I came into the A qualification list by throwing 3.67 centimeters and ranking 8th in the world. I get into the target Olympic podium scheme. I start working hard, and in July 26th, nobody was hoping that out of the three girls, it'll be Deepa, the oldest, and the most severely disabled athlete in the severely disabled category, will make it to the final one quota allocation slot. We were throwing against a world rankings. I throw a distance of 4.48. The other girl in discus throws a certain distance. I, on that day, threw equivalent to world ranking 1, and the other girl threw equivalent to world ranking 5. So I was very happy with my throw, and I thought the next day I will be all over the newspapers because I had grabbed that seat and everybody was in a state of shock that she did it. But next day morning, instead of my paper being in the newspaper, of course, for once I felt that forever I have fought for equal status for parasports. Recent news was about Sushil Kumar and the other wrestler in battling in the court. Suddenly I hear a news that my opponent girl has dragged me to the High Court, and she says that Deepa has cheated her way into the final. The throw was not correct, her style was not correct, somebody has mismeasured the distance, and the time which was most crucial for me to train, for 15 days I was in and out of the High Court. Finally, the court cleared my name, but on all the WhatsApp or social media, every day I was getting these horrendous messages which said, 4.48 कभी दोबारा फेंक के दिखाना, तुम नहीं कर पाओगी, तुम cheater हो. Suddenly that journey of becoming a Paralympian became a journey of clearing my name. An army officer's daughter, an army officer's sister, an army officer's wife, being accused of cheating when I had worked so hard. And the day of the Rio medal, my second throw equal to 4.49, and I really was happy because the moment they said that yes, this is a counted throw, and then actual competition of Paralympics began for me, because till then it was a fight about saving my name and my integrity and my honesty of my performance. And by the sixth throw, I had picked up the silver medal with 4.61 as my distance.
Wow. Abhinav, when you go to an Olympic Games, I mean, you've told me several times that you were perhaps the best prepared of all time for Rio. Nursing a condition, getting over it, you prepare, you train, and then that sort of losing out in the shootout. How do you, as an athlete, take that mentally? I mean, is it sort of taking you into a zone of isolation that, oh, I've done everything possible over the last 2.5 years, from 2014 till 2016, and I've lost out by, actually he lost out by, if you take out a hair, if you pull out a hair and you try and look at the tip of that hair, the distance by which Abhinav lost was half of that tip of your hair. Okay? That's the difference between losing out on an Olympic medal. How do you cope with that?
Well, like in life, time is the best healer, and I think acceptance. I think you accept what the reality is and move on. I think sometimes we just try and resist things too much, and you know, an event happened. You can't change the result, so accept it and move on. I mean, end of the day, I had a lot of internal satisfaction because I did the best that I could, and I think an athlete's life, you know, one is not scared of failure. One is not scared of doing badly. you know what an athlete is really scared of? An athlete is scared of regret. And I have no regrets because I put my best into it.
Two final questions before I open up for a couple more questions and close the session. Deepa, you know, we've discussed this. When you came into sort of doing athletics post your marriage, and when your daughter started going to school and this operation happened, society said a lot of things which you combated. I mean, I started saying that. Can you tell us about that journey, the three things?
Yeah, I was coping up. I was working very hard. I was being very brave because it was only after 4 months that my husband saw me in this condition, and destiny or whatever, but my elder daughter also met with an accident as a 1.5-year-old, and her left of the body got paralyzed due to a head injury. So I was already coping up with her physiotherapy, and with my younger daughter just 3 years old, I become totally paralyzed chest below, and the entire society, rather than praising my courage and my ability to adapt and move on with this, still be a good mother, yet everybody said that, will she be a good mother? She will never be able to look after her children. She'll be bedridden all her life. Yes, I do not have bladder control. I do not have bowel control. I have total zero sensation in my body below chest level with 200 stitches on my spinal column. But what troubled me was not my disability. What troubled me was not my physical challenges. What troubled me was a stereotypical image of a woman in disability in my society. And I think everybody had predicted that Deepa is going to die in a room in her own urine and feces on a bed. And I think that was not which was acceptable to me. And at the age of 36, I set out on this journey of ability beyond disability. I tapped on my passions. I turned a swimmer, I turned a biker, I turned a rallist, I turned a restaurateur. When people said that I will not be able to feed 2 daughters, through the restaurant project, I started feeding almost 400 people. So I think even sports were more about creating a new identity for myself. It was more about telling people that I was not a patient, I was a person. And it was more about declaring to the world that legs indeed are overrated.
Abhinav, my final question to you before I open it up. You know, for an Olympic athlete, you've said that you don't have regrets. I mean, I just keep coming back to you to try and understand the mentality of an Olympic athlete. For 4 years, I mean, not only you, Deepa, for that matter, anybody, and those few seconds or that one shot can undo everything. I mean, and in India, I mean, we keep saying this, that there is no system. It's despite the system that champions come up. Without the system, you guys have come up. What's the way forward? You are now in charge of the Prime Ministerial Task Force. You're a member of many committees. Can we see change? Can we see change come 2020?
No, I think for 2020, the time's too short. I think we've just a couple of years down the road and you can't really make any significant changes. You have to just try and streamline what you have. It would be a mistake to completely radically change everything because any change takes time to set in and become efficient. In all fairness, I think we should just forget about 2020 and maybe start working for 2024 and beyond 2024 and 2028. But that requires persistence. That requires a long-term investment. That requires patience, and you need to set systems in order. And hopefully that system, those systems and that investment that you put in for a significant amount of time will bear fruit sometimes down the road. So that requires a lot of persistence, and that is something that the state has to decide if sporting success is important to us, and if it's high on our priority, then we got to go and do it. And we got to go and do it by getting the best people in the world and try and set those systems up in this country. Of course there is talent. There's a huge amount of talent that exists, except that that talent needs to be nurtured right from the grassroots and taken up to the Olympic level.
As I close that session from my end, I mean, and I've revealed this for the first time, so just ponder about this, that somebody nursing a neurological condition for 2.5 years, winning a Commonwealth Games gold, making it to Rio, and then telling you that that was not the reason why he lost. That takes quite a lot of mental courage. And the other person, 183 operations. So 2 questions, ladies and gentlemen, before I close this session. 2 questions from my audience. Are we running out of time? Okay.
But we do have a breakaway session with
The two of them, okay.
Yes.
We'll
We
do a
have
breakaway session
tea with
with the
champions.
two of them where we'll have both of them answering a few questions. But on that note, these are 2 extremely, extremely proud Indians who have made us proud, and I've seen the tricolor go up. Can I please ask you to put your hands together for Abhinav Bindra and Deepa Malik?
I would like to say just 2 lines. Indeed, it's a huge honor for a Paralympian medal to be celebrated and cherished like this. Finally, we have arrived. Finally, Paralympics is getting its due. I have always admired him for being the first ever. Today, sitting besides Abhinav, I have to thank you for cherishing this Paralympics as a sport, but a humble request, continue to do that. We need to have an equal opportunities and support given to the para sports too, and to be considered them as mainstream. Thank you so much.
Abhinav and Deepa, thank you both. Your achievements are celebrated, and your experiences and stories fill us with renewed vigor, courage and strength. Thank you both so much. Thank you. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Abhinav Bindra and Deepa Malik. Thank you both so much.